Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe during these crazy times. For this video, I'm going to give a trigger warning. It is going to talk about a lot of sensitive subjects that a lot of people cannot talk about, cannot tolerate, etc. So if you are in a dark place already to begin with, if you are not able to or comfortable speaking about pregnancy loss or infant loss, then I would please advise to shut down the video, skip to another one, watch something else. I don't want to put anybody in harm's way, and if that means that your mental state is going to become compromised, I don't like that. I know for myself it's hard enough talking about it, and I jeopardize my own health, but it allows me to heal at the same time, and that's why I do these videos. That's why I talk. I share my journey, and I've actually met a lot of amazing women through this journey. So this is why I continuously share my story, and I hope and pray that I can help somebody else in the process. But if you are not able to, if you are not comfortable talking about it, then please click off the video. I love and support everybody, and I'm glad that you guys are loving and supporting my videos, but again, I'm not putting anybody in harm's way. So I will give you a moment to click off if you need to. So on that note, we're going to kind of jump right into it. So October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. It is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They sometimes actually go hand in hand, unfortunately. But, so, trying to decide where I want to even start with this, because there are so many different things I can talk about, so many different experiences, personal and non-personal, other people that have shared their stories with me that are allowing me to talk about them. I can honestly go on for a few hours, but I'm not going to. Pregnancy and Infant Awareness Month. I have always acknowledged it. I have always lit my candle for every single woman that has ever lost a child, whether it be to a early miscarriage, a midterm miscarriage, a stillbirth, or actual SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. I've always lit my candles for them. But as most of you know, in May I became one of those women. So, in May, unfortunately, God had other plans for Aaron and I, and it was 5 months exactly today that I ended up at Port Perry Hospital having my miscarriage. So, this month has meant a whole lot different to myself personally, and also with all the women that I've met throughout my journey. I felt a lot more connection with these women than I would have if I didn't ever experience a loss. So, now that she shared the news, my sister-in-law Danielle is actually expecting. And this is her rainbow baby, because last year she suffered a really traumatic miscarriage. It was a missed miscarriage, and it was traumatic, and I felt horrible for her. But I didn't, like, as much as you sympathize, you don't fully understand unless you've gone through it yourself. So now this year I sympathize with her a lot more. But I'm so happy for her because she has finally made it past where we ever thought she was going to, because they didn't know why she had the miscarriage, and most of the times you don't. And that's probably the hardest part about it all. But as much joy and everything there is with her pregnancy, it's very bittersweet for myself. And I feel kind of selfish saying that. But Danielle and I were actually a week apart. She's due January 29th. They keep saying January 22nd just because the baby's measuring a week ahead. I was due January 22nd. So we were literally 7 days apart in our potential pregnancy journeys. So I would be 26 weeks and 2 days today. That's exactly where I'd be in my pregnancy. That's where I would be. I haven't been able to close that off on my phone. I haven't been able to put that in as my loss, because every time I try to, I feel really guilty. So I keep it. And I just track to see where my little bean would be. But I'm so thankful for Danielle, because she's allowed me to be a big part of her pregnancy. She's asked me to help her with a lot, which I am so thankful for, so grateful for. It brings me that peace because I will have a stronger connection with my little niece or nephew. We don't know what she's having until the baby's here. So that's my experience, and that's where I'm at in my journey. And the 18th of every month kind of smacks me in the face. So if you ever see me on the 18th of the month and I'm miserable, there's a reason. Don't take it personal. But anyways, let's talk about miscarriages. So miscarriages. Unfortunately, 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage. That is the statistics that they've come up with. And a miscarriage is a pregnancy that is lost before 20 weeks. Stillbirth. Stillbirth happens 1 in 160 births. It's about 24,000 babies a year lost due to stillbirth. And a stillbirth is anywhere from 20 weeks to 42 weeks. If you go into active labor and unfortunately the baby passes during labor, that's a stillbirth for sure. So those babies are a little extra special. They are born sleeping. They were only there for a short time because sometimes they die like minutes after birth. So they're there for such a short time, but they make such a big impact. And I think that happens with every pregnancy that's ever lost. It doesn't matter where you were in your pregnancy, like that pregnancy made a huge impact on you and on your life and on everything, every aspect. Whether you were expecting to get pregnant or trying to get pregnant, or if it was a surprise and you ended up losing the baby anyways. Unless you are completely incompetent of taking care of a baby and you never wanted babies and you hate babies and whatever else, that loss hits you no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's a surprise baby, an oops baby, whatever you want to call it. A loss is a loss, and it hits you pretty much the same. I say pretty much because it doesn't always hit the same. Every woman experiences a loss different. Every woman grieves differently. Every single partner grieves differently as well. Like my husband, bless his soul, he is no, I'm here, I'm gonna help you, I got this, don't worry, if you need a mental break, take a mental break kind of thing. He's very supportive, but he doesn't like to talk about it because it does hurt him. Since he can't take away my pain technically, he can help me and he can try to make me feel better, but he can't take all of my pain away. So it's hard for him. He can't talk about it. He's not one to show emotion. Whereas there is some partners that are willing to show emotion. They're willing to sit down with their partner and talk about it. And they're willing to grieve together. So everybody has their own grieving processes. And everybody will go through it differently. Now, as for SIDS, so that was where the infant loss comes in. SIDS is #1 cause of infant loss, unfortunately, other than car accidents or birth defects, anything like that. SIDS is #1. So SIDS happens for so many different reasons, but the one that they find it's happening because of the most is actually from babies sleeping on their bellies. And because their faces are so little, it's kind of right on the mattress. And so when they breathe, it comes down and it hits the mattress, and then they're breathing in that used air. So it's actually carbon dioxide they're sucking back in, and they're finding that babies are suffocating because of it. So the best way to avoid that is obviously sleep on the back, on a firmer mattress. There's so many stipulations around it. I'm not even going to get into that because you raise your kid however you want. If you co-sleep, good for you. If you don't, good for you. Like, I'm not getting into any of that. I'm not looking for any hate. I'm just sharing stats kind of thing. As for SIDS, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, unfortunately. It's called sudden infant death syndrome for a reason. It's usually called crib death because that's where most babies pass away, is in their cribs. It does happen with bed sharing if it's not done properly. There is safe ways for bed sharing. So if you're going to bed share, please do your research. Please have knowledge. I know everybody's falling asleep with a baby on their chest kind of thing. It's a one-time thing. But if you are purposely bed sharing, please, please, please do your research before you just jump right into it. There's so many rules and stipulations around it, and there is safe ways to bed share. There are safe ways for the baby to lay in a crib, in a bassinet, whatever you have them in. Another major cause of sudden infant death syndrome is positional. It is dependent on how they're sitting in a car seat, how they are sitting in a stroller, if they're sitting in a bouncer, if they're sitting in a swing, if they're anywhere. Their bodies are so little and their heads are so big for their body that they suffocate themselves because their head's kind of hanging down and they're not breathing properly. And that's even hard for me to fully get a breath. And I'm a full-grown adult and I know how to breathe properly. So please, please, please keep your babies as safe as possible. Don't let them sleep in a car seat. I mean, I know it's really annoying to have to wake them up when they're in the middle of a nap because now they're gonna scream and you don't want to deal with it. But please, please, please take those babies out. Take the baby out of the car seat, lay them flat. Babies they do usually go back to sleep. Usually. Some babies are kind of sassholes and don't go back to sleep. But if that's the issue, then come talk to me about that and I will help you figure it out. Talking about more experiences. One of my friend that I actually assisted, and she took my advice and now is pregnant. She is having a roller coaster of emotions right now, unfortunately. The one technician was saying that she was having ectopic, and another one was saying, no, it's normal, everything like that. So far, everything is going good. The actual radiologist said that it looked like it was in her uterus, just kind of late implantation, and that's why it didn't seem like a whole lot, but she is only about maybe 5-6 weeks, so it's really hard to see anything at that point anyways. You get better pictures 8 to 10 weeks, and that's why most doctors won't see you before then. But if you can, please keep praying for her and keep praying for everybody you know that's trying to conceive, who is having a pregnancy right now, especially during a global pandemic. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest things about getting pregnant right now is because the pandemic is going on, most clinics won't allow your partner to come in with you or anybody to come in with you for any doctor's appointment. So it's very emotional in that way. My sister-in-law, she's had to go to her appointments alone, which is not fair because, I mean, obviously my brother wants to be there with her, obviously. They want to share that excitement and see the ultrasounds and hear the heartbeat together and whatever else. As for miscarriages, like I said, miscarriages happen for so many different reasons. They happen because of chromosomal abnormalities. They happen because of low progesterone. They happen because you worked out too hard. Honestly, that list can go on and on and on, and I'm not going to tell you all of them. You can look them up because there's a lot. How to know you're having a miscarriage. It's different for everybody, but I've gotten that question a lot, is how do you know you had a miscarriage? Personally, I just knew. I knew in my heart, I knew in my gut that something was wrong. So it was a little different experience for me. I tested on my grandmother's birthday, May 15th. I wasn't expecting to see anything because I haven't been seeing anything. Like, I've been trying to conceive for so many months already at that point, and I hadn't seen anything. So I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll call my friend over Facebook and we'll talk and we'll test together because she was at the same point in her cycle as I was. So we made a pact to test on 13 days past ovulation. And lo and behold, we were both pregnant. We're like, what the heck? How did that happen? Kind of thing. And it was very shocking, but very, very exciting because I had somebody to go through a pregnancy journey with, even though she lives in the States. But it was just so cool. Like, I had somebody to share everything with, like first doctor's appointments and whatever. Well, because I'm a test freak, I kept testing. And normally your lines would be getting darker as your HCG rises. Well, unfortunately mine got lighter. And then I was like, trying to play it off. I was like, oh, maybe it's my urine wasn't concentrated enough. Maybe it was this, maybe it was that, whatever. But secretly, like, I knew that's not normal. I knew that even though your urine's not concentrated, as long as your HCG is going up, your lines should still be even slightly darker, and mine were not. Mine were going lighter. And then the Monday morning, May 18th, I had a gut feeling something was wrong, but I didn't say anything to Aaron. Aaron got up for work, went on about his day. But before Aaron left for work, we had these light up balloons in our closet from my birthday. And he's like, the blue one's lit up. And I'm like, pardon? Like, the blue balloons lit up? These balloons only last 15 hours. My birthday's May 12th. This is now May 18th. So 6 days later, the blue balloon that nobody's touched is magically lit up. And I was like, that's weird. So when Aaron went to work, I laid there and I was looking on my phone and I was seeing how big our little bean would be at that point, and just like where I was in my pregnancy to begin with and whatever else. So I went back. I eventually fell back to sleep, but like I didn't have a good feeling about going back to sleep. I was really nervous, really scared. This was when I first found out I was pregnant. That's how big it was. It was as big as a poppy seed. So when I woke up again, I woke up around 9. Aaron leaves for work at 5. Woke up around 9, and I was like, okay, like I'll get up for the day kind of thing. And I went to the bathroom, and as I wiped, I looked, and that's honestly when I knew that something was not right. You look down and you see the pink on the toilet paper, and you know that it's not right. Like you would just, there's so many different reasons of like why you could bleed during a pregnancy. You can bleed because of a hematoma inside your uterus. You can bleed because of a bladder infection, a kidney infection. You can bleed because of a UTI, urinary tract infection. Like there's so many different reasons, but I just knew that it wasn't any of those other options. I knew that my baby wasn't with me anymore, and probably hadn't been for a couple days. My body just hadn't taken care of it at that point. So I messaged Aaron and I told him what was going on. I can't call him when he's at work, so I messaged him and I said I was bleeding and that I think I'm having a miscarriage and need to go to the hospital. And then I've talked to a doctor online and she's like, well, it could be this, it could be that, whatever else. And she goes, but if you choose to, go to the hospital and just get checked, just because you never know. So Aaron came home from work early and we went to the Port Perry Hospital because Oshawa Hospital is not for me. So we went up to Port Perry, and because of the pandemic, he couldn't come in with me, and I bawled my eyes out at the front door as the nurse said, nope, sorry, nobody else allowed in with you. But I'm very thankful for that nurse still to this day, because she wrapped her arms around me and more or less like dragged me into the triage room. And then she took me over to registration. And then she kept checking on me while I was sitting in the waiting room, and I only sat in the waiting room for maybe 10 minutes. And then she walked me back to the room where the doctor was going to come in and do her own assessment. And then the doctor came in and she's like, asking me all these questions, like, why do you think you're having a miscarriage, etc., etc. So I told her everything. And because I was so early, I knew nothing would show up on a bedside ultrasound. We already knew that. But she did a pelvic exam with everything. I'm not going to get into details just in case there's a guy watching. But you ladies know. She did everything that she needed to do. She said that my cervix was slightly open, but not like it should be during a normal miscarriage. And that everything looked okay, but she didn't know why I was bleeding. So she did the bedside ultrasound. But it didn't show anything, and I already knew it wasn't going to show anything because I was still very, very early. I was 4 weeks, 4 days. And then she asked me to go do blood work. So I went and did my blood work, and I waited for that. And while I was waiting, They did it all. They did an actual ultrasound, internal, and just abdominal, and they said, no, sorry, we don't see anything, kind of. And they said, come back in a few days just to make sure everything has actually cleared out. So when they did my blood work, it came back as 3. 3 is nothing. 3 is, it's not enough. They want 10 to be classified as pregnant. So they said, sorry, it's negative. And I was like, oh, okay, but they didn't tell me the number. I found out the number online when I checked my report online. That's how I found it. It was 3. And I was like, so I was obviously pregnant, not making this whole thing up, and it is actually a miscarriage. And then I had to go back 2 days later and have another ultrasound done just to make sure there was no remnants of the pregnancy so that I didn't become very, very sick with sepsis or anything like that. They rechecked my blood and it was down to 1 at that point. So the doctor said after I was done with the bleeding and everything that I could start trying again if I chose to, which we did. But to know that you're having a miscarriage, I think it's an intuition thing. I mean, yeah, you can have typical symptoms of the cramping and the bleeding and whatever else, but I still think you know even when you don't know. That's just how I feel. So I said I'm a test freak. I'll show you. I still have my tests. And I don't even have all of them. I only have a few of them. So obviously they're not like, you can't really tell anymore, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of just clear blue, and then 2 of first response, and then I have kept 3 of the Easy at Home test strips. I have 3 of them. I still have my hospital bracelet from the day of everything. And remember that blue balloon? I kept that very blue balloon. I kept the one that was lit up. And I wrote the date on it. Because I had a gut feeling I was having a boy. And the day that everything happened, my blue balloon lit up. So, this is what I have to remind me of my baby. And everybody's different. Some people don't want to remember it at all. Some people honor it in whatever way they want. I don't celebrate because I'm still in the mourning phase. So I don't celebrate the life at all. I just mourn it. And I will mourn it probably for the rest of my life. But everybody's different. Some people have had so many miscarriages at this point that it's nothing new to them. It's kind of just, yeah, okay, it happened. Sure. What are we going to do about it this time? And some people are like me, very emotional about it, very scared to talk about it. Some people don't know how to talk about it. But I still pray every day that I get my rainbow baby. And a rainbow baby is a baby that is conceived and born after a loss. So my little niece or nephew that is joining us in January is my sweet little rainbow. My sweet little rainbow. Yep. Eventually, Aaron and I will have our own actual rainbow baby. I'm a rainbow baby. Most people don't know that, but I'm actually a rainbow baby. My mom was pregnant, and it didn't work. And then she had me. So I am a rainbow baby. And that's why my faith is so strong that I will have my own. There's lots of days that I say I can't do this anymore, I give up, I'm done, throw my hands up to the wall and just like throw everything away. But my journey's not over yet, and I know that. I'm still on this journey. I'm still trying as much as I can. I try to keep my faith, I try to keep my hope. It does get very hard. So remember, Pregnancy and Infant Awareness Month. Light your candle. I believe it's the 15th of October that everybody lights their candles. 15th or 17th. I don't know why I can't remember that. But light your candle. If somebody's told you that they just experienced a loss, don't say, well, at least now you know you can get pregnant. Be sympathetic. And if you don't know how to be, then just say, I'm sorry for your loss. Don't say anything else. The last thing somebody needs you to say is, well, at least you know you can get pregnant. Yeah, but it's not getting pregnant, it's getting pregnant and staying pregnant. That's the issue. That's what a lot of people struggle with, is getting pregnant, but then staying pregnant. I know somebody right now who just had another early miscarriage, and she doesn't know why, because she had all the testing done and everything came back normal. Her tubes are completely open. There's no abnormalities in her womb or her uterus. There's nothing wrong with any of her hormone levels themselves. So her and I are trying to work it out together to see why she might be having recurrent miscarriages and try to see if we can fix that issue for her so she finally gets to have her baby and finally gets to bring one home. So if you ever need to talk, feel free to message me. Feel free to message me on here, leave a comment saying I need to talk to you. Feel free to message me on Facebook. My name is Ashley Witter on Facebook, not Ashley Baker. If you need anything, just please reach out. If you want to share your story but don't know how, please feel free to reach out and I can share your story for you if you choose to. If you choose to keep details private, I can do that as well. Just remember, you are not alone. I can almost guarantee you somebody's gone through the same thing that you've gone through. It's just finding those right resources, finding those right people to connect with, and hopefully sharing your story. So once again, this is Pregnancy and Infant Awareness Month. So I can guarantee you know somebody that's ever had a loss. And I'm not going to say go poke around in everybody's business and ask them if they've ever had a loss, but if you know somebody that's had a loss and they're struggling, just reach out a hand. I mean, it can be the smallest thing. It can just be sitting there listening to them. And it will mean the whole world to them because they feel lonely, they feel lost, they don't know where to kind of go in their own journey. And if you can't help them, send them my way because I'm sure I can figure out a way to help them. I'm not a professional. I don't give medical advice. I give scientific facts and I give statements of what has worked for vast majority. I talk about my own experiences. I talk about what I take, what I do, what I try. And if it works for them, perfect. If it doesn't, then we'll try something else. Because I can guarantee you, I'll stick with you throughout your whole journey, whether I get pregnant first or you get pregnant first. I am here for everybody. So I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for supporting me during my journey. Thank you for everybody that's ever reached out to me to say, I'm not alone, like, I'm here for you. I've had a lot of them. To those that are still struggling to find your voice, message me please, and I can help you uncover that voice. I can help you be your own advocate. I can be an advocate for you. And if you want your story shared, feel free to message me. I'm always here. If you have any questions, message me. Concerns, message me. If you guys have any topics that you want me to cover, please leave them in the comments as I do go through the comments and I will address anything that I can. I can do videos about ovulation tests, different types of pregnancy tests and the different sensitivity levels. I can talk about different vitamins. I can talk about different procedures for men and women. I can talk about so much different stuff. I just need to know what everybody wants to hear and where I should take this kind of video style with me. So I hope you guys all stay well and stay safe, and I will see you all soon. Bye.